I was more drawn to the kind of the purity of games like Ico, the original 2D Prince of Persia, like Out of This World on the Amiga. Games that were very pure in their presentation. And so I sort of saw Hellblade as a chance to just, because I knew it had to be independent, we were going to make it, a chance to just go, forget all of that, I'm just going to do this game the way I think it should be, and it might work, it might not, but at least it's mine, you know, or ours as a team's, you know. It's our vision, not anyone else's. In some ways, I think Hellblade is closer to what I would have liked Heavenly Sword to be. But the commercial realities of making a game for AAA publishing is that you have to hit all the buttons. And there's a lot of voices from everywhere, because the game's so big, you know, there's so many people involved, it has to sell so much that you inevitably, you know, have to make it a certain way. And when talking or representing mental illness, the tendency is to see it as someone else, as another. Here's the freaky villain, you can't understand him because he's mentally ill, you know. There's a tendency to blame the other, you know. It happens, you know, even now with all the school shootings, mental illness is thrown out there. And what seems clear to me, and why Hellblade resonates with everyone, is that mental illness is as common as physical illness, as common as perhaps catching the flu. We all have physical trauma, we all have sicknesses throughout our lives, and exactly the same happens with mental illness throughout all our lives. We may not recognize it when it happens, because we're taught to avoid, you know, never admit it, but it happens to us all.
Who are you?
The way it gets under your skin, the game, it works for everyone pretty much, because we're all familiar with those feelings. Anguish, that fear, it's a common human attribute, as is psychosis and mental illness. We're just talking about extremes, and at some point we just go, here's a line and you're mentally ill. But it doesn't work like that. Like, there's no absolutes. We're just all part of a continuum. Right up until launch, we had no idea if this was going to work at all. Like, it's just really hard to tell. Just take the boat intro, right? It's non-interactive, it's about 5 minutes long, without voiceover, music and lighting and stuff like that. You look at that and you think, anyone sane would think this isn't going to work, but it did. None of the games I think I've worked on in the past I've felt very satisfied with. Commercially, they've not been fantastic for us either. They've kept us going, but this felt to me almost like a last gasp. Like we were probably going to go down a downward spiral if this wasn't a success. What we have now is independence. We have a validation that it's worth taking risks. We've made a good deal of sales, way beyond our expectations, and everyone's excited that worked with us. The response has been way, way, way better than I could have imagined. I expected there to be a split, and there's a tiny split, but it's overwhelmingly positive. The recognition in the awards means that people want to encourage us to keep doing this kind of thing, and it's a great boon for other independent developers who want to break away from the grind of the AAA publishing model and couldn't see a way out. It's humbling, and it fires us up to kind of go further, for sure.